We have a lot of faith in planning, but it is taking a very long time. It is complicated. And what we feel is that there are very serious planning issues. There are very clear guidelines on what is allowed and what is not allowed, one of which is that that it's only zoned for a hotel, not for anything else, unless a hotel can be demonstrated to be not commercially viable.
Well, we'll give it the argument of Dandara, who say that if they had a 40-bedroom hotel, it probably wouldn't be able to stand by itself. It needs the apartments to make it viable. You've spoken to the planners, and they say they're still looking for someone to check into this viability claim, etc. So at the moment, I suppose the jury's out on any direct evidence that is the case.
Yes, I mean, at the moment, it is only meant to be for a hotel. That's what it's zoned for. That's what the area of the plan for the south says. Dandara has said that they will sell the hotel as soon as possible. That's what they said they will do after they built it. What we want to do
They've actually said that?
Yes, they have. It's in their October the 3rd letter, and it's also quoted in the newspapers. That's what they've said that they will do. So what their faith in a hotel appears to be somewhat limited because they want to get rid of it. But what we're asking members of Tynwald to do is to step back and look at the bigger picture. This is a case of balancing development and tourism, which the Isle of Man needs, with nature and the beauty and the things that make the Isle of Man special. And we want them to stand back. We want everybody, we want the public as well, to stand back and take a fresh look at this.
Well, let's look at Dandara's point of view. They're taking something that has been a wreck, it has been for some years now, and are basically making something rather grand of it.
They've been sitting on a wreck since 2011. They've taken forever to come up with these proposals. They've had consultations with many, many people, including ourselves. We've invited them to meetings and so on. And what they're proposing is massive. It's an apartment block in a beauty spot. That is the piece of land it's on is a little enclave surrounded by a biosphere core area, by a marine reserve, by a bird sanctuary. It is a very, very special place.
But you'd agree something has to happen to that site?
Something has to happen. An appropriately sized hotel which can benefit people.
The same size as the last one?
It could be the same size as the last one, certainly, but what they're proposing is much, much bigger. And I ask you to step back for a moment and think about the Calf of Man and Langness. They're both very similar. If you were to put a great big apartment block on the Calf of Man, so when you look out from the Sound Cafe, that's what you see, people would have a fit. The only difference between they're both core biosphere areas, Langness and the Calf. The only difference is that because there was a building there built 130 years ago, the little enclave of the Golflinks Hotel is treated differently. It's a brownfield site, and therefore Dandara is saying it is not countryside.
Can I just ask you what you hope to achieve by writing to the MHKs? Presumably you haven't written to Ray Harmer because he's involved in this process as infrastructure MHK, but what do you hope? They can't influence the planning process, can they?
We've written to them because the Chief Minister, when he first took office, stressed how important the nature of the Isle of Man is, what a beautiful place it is, our amazing landscapes and so on. We think they represent the people, of course, and they represent the most important thing.
But they can't influence this process, surely?
They may or may not be able to influence the process, but there's a question of whether it is really sensible for, by virtue of a building having been there 130 years, long before anybody had ever paid any attention to the environment, they would never get permission for a new building there today. And I think it's important for the people of the Isle of Man and the MHKs and MLCs to really sort of be aware of the fact of the real threat to Langness and its wildlife.